Governor-General Paulo Bernardo the hospitality of the province to March of Time Director Dwight Godwin. Senor Geddes understands English, but he prefers to express himself in Portuguese.
Your Excellency, Mr. Peters, our cameraman, and I have come to film Goa for the March of Time television program. We've been told that here in Goa, the level of prosperity is very good, that there are no extremes of great wealth or great poverty. Do you feel that to be true, sir?
Governor-General Geddes says the standard of living of the people of Goa is very satisfactory, especially when compared with the standard of other peoples of Asia. There are no great fortunes in Goa, but there are also no large masses of poor people, and there is no famine in Goa. However, he says, I don't want to influence you, and I do beg you to investigate for yourselves. Chief mainstay of the Goan economy is the port of Mormugao, one of the best natural harbors in all Asia. Today, flags of all nations fly in the harbor of Mormugao, just as they did in the 16th century, when Goa was the chief Asian outpost of the far-flung empire of Portugal. Merchant ships coming to Mormugao bring imports not only to Goa itself, but also material to be transshipped to India and other countries in the east. For Mormugao, in addition to its good natural harbor, has a tariff so low that it is virtually a free port. Ships also come to be loaded with manganese ore, Goa's chief export. Largely because of old-fashioned loading methods, ships arriving to load manganese are kept waiting from 30 to 50 days before they are able to depart. Every day there are at least 9 ships waiting to take on manganese ore, and 20 to 30 others scheduled to arrive. But even though this waiting time can add as much as $35,000 to the cost of a load, Goa sells its manganese ore so cheaply that it is considered by many nations to be a profitable venture. At the manganese mines, the ore is transported from the mine in the same outmoded fashion. The conveyor belt at this mine is seldom in operating condition, and even when it is, the women laborers still bring the ore up from the mine pit. Manganese mining is not a new industry in Goa, but it is only since the war that the market has been of substantial size. Chief customers for the ore today are the United States and Japan. The increase in the export of ore has added significantly to Goa's annual income, and the employment provided for dock workers has helped to keep the living standards of Goa's people higher than those in most Asian countries. But it is Goa's imports that provide most of the wealth brought by the port. Customs duty on imports is generally very low. This results in a heavy volume of business, which furnishes Goa with a comfortable revenue. Luxury articles from the West are available on the Goan market at prices much lower than they sell for in the United States. These Swiss watches sell in Goa for about half their price in the U.S. However, relatively few of the luxury items of import that come to Mormugao stay in Goa. Mercantile merchants of other nations take advantage of Goa's low tariff and send products to Mormugao which are bound for India. These pearls came to Goa from Iran. Other items go into India by a more devious route. They are smuggled in and sold for high prices in the black markets of Bombay and other Indian cities. Indian sources claim that about $10 million worth of materials is smuggled into India from Goa every year. Farming is the industry in which the majority of Goan people are engaged. And farming in Goa is a family enterprise. Each morning, Farmer Caetano's whole family leave the house and go out to the fields. Like most of Asia's farmers, Farmer Caetano wages a constant struggle with the land to keep it productive. The Indian government feels that Caetano's farm and all of Goa should be a part of India. But most Goan families are content to remain Portuguese citizens. By Western standards, their life may not be luxurious, but they feel that they're better off than many Indians, and they do not want to trade what they have for a share of India's poverty. Almost everyone eats regularly in Goa, and that is a vital factor in a part of the world where starvation is not uncommon. The Caetano's dinner is a rice and coconut curry. Fishing is another big domestic industry in Goa. Fishing and farming together occupy the majority of the Goan people. Fishing is more than a family affair. Whole communities participate and help pull in the nets. After the catch has been brought in, the villagers and children move in to get the fish out of the net. The day's work is finished, and the nets put away by mid-afternoon. Recreation in the villages that lie on the edge of the Goan jungle follows a simple pattern established through the centuries. A favorite show is supplied by Hindu entertainers who take a performing cow around the countryside. Life in most parts of Goa remains virtually the same as it was when the Portuguese erected the Arch of the Viceroys in the 16th century to symbolize their claim to this old land. But a change, building slowly, is coming to Goa through its younger generation. Today, Goa has 530 schools within its 1,300 square mile area. Many of these like the École de Santo Tommaso, are operated by the Catholic Church. Here, students are taught to speak both Portuguese and English. Coast. The ship enters the harbor at Panjim, capital city of the green paradise of Goa, a land rich with evidences of early Portuguese expeditions. This bridge was built, according to legend, by Portuguese monks in one night. But the 20th century has made its mark on Panjim. It is the streets of Goa's cities and towns which reflect the life that has existed in Goa for centuries. The lively business conducted at the market reflects also the economic well-being of the Goan people, compared with other groups in Asia. Friday is marketing day at Mapusa. From a nearby farm, Ketu, Caetano's wife, and her eldest daughter, Paulina, come to buy chickpeas, a staple in the Goan diet, which is not raised on the Caetanos. An unvarying part of the transaction is a friendly haggle with the merchant. But his price remains the same, the equivalent of 15 cents a pound. And Mrs. Caetano makes the purchase she came after. Most of Goa's 550,000 people are of Indian stock and speak a Hindu dialect. Thus, India contends that Goa should belong to India. But Goa has strong religious ties with Portugal. Roman Catholicism came to Goa with the Portuguese explorers in the earliest 16th century. And today, half the Goan people still profess that faith. This winter, Goa became an important center of Christendom once more, as she was in earlier years. The preserved body of St. Francis Xavier, who was buried in Goa 400 years ago, was displayed in the cathedral of Old Goa. Catholic pilgrims from all over the world came to venerate Goa's patron saint. This religious bond symbolizes the strong tie between Portugal and Goa. The mother country hold its tiny possession by force. Typical of the small military force in the country is the Goan Navy, which consists of one launch and a handful of personnel. A Portuguese lieutenant who commands it is the Navy's only officer, and its only European. The Capitania actually operates more as a harbor patrol than as a navy. Goa's army, though larger, is also a token force. The army troop at Panjim is composed not only of native Goans, but also of soldiers from Portuguese colonies in Africa and from Portugal itself. The entire army in Goa is little more than 3,000 officers and men. The elite corps of the Goan army is the contingent of troops from Mozambique, a Portuguese colony in Africa, 3,000 miles from Goa. Drilled by Portuguese non-commissioned officers, the Mozambique troops excel in the physical aspects of soldiering. Here they simulate grenade throwing. These soldiers may volunteer for a 4-year tour of duty in Goa, or be drafted to serve 2 years. African troops outnumber Portuguese and Goans by 5 to 1. Homesickness brings them together often to sing the songs of their people. Governor General Geddes made himself available for any questions Director Godwin might have.
Morning, Your Excellency. Our film is almost complete now on Goa, and one of the things I've noticed while we've been here is that there doesn't seem to be any feeling of colonialism amongst the Goan people. Colonialism has been responsible for so much trouble in this part of the world. I wonder how you account for this lack of colonial feeling.
Goa não é uma colónia de Portugal, mas sim uma província.
The Governor General points out that Goa is not a Portuguese colony, but a province, like any province in Portugal proper. Every citizen of Goa is a full-fledged citizen of Portugal. Goans occupy important government positions. The presiding judge of the Court of Appeals is a Goan, as is the Postmaster General. Most of the magistrates and teachers are natives of Goa.
Deve mesmo ter observado que em Goa, neste momento, o presidente do Tribunal da Relação e grande parte dos magistrados judiciais e do Ministério Público são goeses, assim como os chefes de serviços dos Correios, etc.
Goa's ties with Portugal are as old as the ruins studding the landscape of the ancient city of Velha Goa, the crumbled relics of a civilization built by a great nation in the proud days of her empire. Today, many of the great cathedrals and monasteries erected during the 16th and 17th centuries are in crumbling decay, and the little province of Goa lives in their shadows. But in the dust of these ruins, there can still be detected the splendor that was Goa 400 years ago. Today, the world of the 20th century seems about to overtake Portuguese Goa. But the past has left its distinctive mark. Time marches on.